Hello, everybody, and welcome to this part 16 of the Arduboy game dev stream. Today, as I said last time, we will implement a new state for the main character. We'll try to implement the crawling state in order to go under the arrows and also crawling under the small passage. But before we do that, I will show you some little change I've done outside of the stream. Yeah. So last stream at the end, I left you with a kind of a bug, like for the detection of the arrows of the arrow launcher. When the arrow launcher detects the main characters and he threw an arrow, I told you it was not correct when the arrow launcher was mirrored. So I fixed that. I think it's that one. So for this, I just memorize this in a Boolean flag, and then depending if it's looking left or right, I just put the x min x max x, which is 2 value, but I know that the min is lower than the max. So obviously, if the statue is looking toward the left, then the x of the statue is greater than where the detection is, because the detection width is just the width. So that's why I have x minus the detection. All right, so, and then depending on that, I just test if rec x is in between min and max. And I also have fixed a little bug here. It should be like this with the sprite width here. Yeah, and yeah, last time we have done that, the detection width. All right, so that was a simple fix. The other one you already saw the modification during last stream. Then I have just refactor a little bit the wall, the sprite. So don't be surprised if the look of the game is different, but I may change it again and again. It's not. I was just trying to research if that would look better or not. And then finally, a more important bug I've fixed is an issue we had also with the bullet arrows. Maybe you have noticed when the arrows is launching, and then the arrows continue to go even if it touched the player. Well, that was the bug, right? The arrow was not cancelled, was not killed when it was touching the player, and that would have been the same for the bullet. So for the arrow is maybe not that important, maybe not a big deal, because anyway we will play death animation for the player, so the arrow can still go on. But for the bullet, it's a problem, because if you have two enemies in line, and when the player fire one bullet, it should kill the first enemy, but not the second enemy. It should not one bullet should not kill the two enemies. So we really have to stop the bullet once they have touched an enemy. So to do that, the problem was, if you remember, we drew the bullet ray, then we erase it, and then we just draw the bullet, right? So we draw the bullet ray, then the enemies and the main character is checking the collision with this lethal stuff and may die. Okay, so the player have noticed that he hit the bullet, but the bullet doesn't know that he hit the player. So that was the other um, information that the bullet needed to do. And also the player, when he hit the bullet, he doesn't know actually which bullet he hit. Um, because it could be a spike, it could be a dynamite, it could be anything that killed the player. So if we really want to know which bullet hit the player, then one solution would have been to do like with the pickup, which means you draw one pickup, you test the collision, you draw another one, you test the collision again. So here would be you draw a bullet, you test collision, draw another bullet, test the collision, etc. But that would be maybe quite a lot of collision tests, I think. Specific, well, maybe not that much, but could have been. So um, finally, I find another way of doing it. I'm not sure if it's the best way, but I've implemented like that. So basically, because I still need to talk a lot. Sorry, let me put myself in big. Because the bullet, first the bullet is drawing the ray cast, and then the bullet is erasing the cast. So when I erase the ray cast, I could check if well, that's the solution I implemented. I check if the pixels were not already erased, because if you remember, when I check the lethal collision with the player, I draw the player in black. So basically I draw the raycast of the blade, then I draw the player in black, which may erase the bullet, which may erase some pixel of the bullet ray, right? So then when I go back to the bullet, asking the bullet to erase itself, the bullet before erasing can check if the pixel is already erased or not. If the pixel is already black, that means the bullet has collided with something. So in that case, the bullet can decide, okay, I collide with something, so I should stop. I should not continue. So basically, I implemented like that. That's a possibility. Another possibility would have been here in the main loop. We could also have, before checking this collision, we could also maybe draw the player, but that brings some trouble for the rest of the management of the player. So, and then also the bullet would have collide and consider that the player is like a static collision. So maybe the bullet will draw the sparks FX when he's touching the player, which may be okay, which may be not okay. So that's another possibility. So there is several possibilities to handle that issue. Yeah, the three possibilities I mentioned. So basically draw the character here before calling this bullet, or maybe the first solution I suggest is draw the bullet one by one and check the collision again and again. But I was afraid about the performance about this solution, because if there is many AI, maybe there is not so many bullets. Maybe you only fire one bullet at once. But if there is a lot of arrows, you have to fire the arrows, and the enemies can also be killed with the arrows. So if you have 2, 3, 4 enemies and two arrows, so it's like 8 tests, which may slow down the whole process because it's a lot of drawing draw calls. So anyway, I choose this second trick, which will force us, by the way, to draw the enemy in black, like the player, and then draw the enemy in white. So we also have draw calls, but maybe less than if we check one by one. Okay, let's check the code. I can show you the header file. I have created a function to kill the bullet without the sparks, just to factorize some code you will see, and I have renamed this function. I just rename it. Search for pixel color along bullet. Now I specify the color because you will see I can search for white pixel or I can search for black pixel, right? But I use the same function. So that's another benefit of this solution, is I reuse the same function also. Instead of giving the impact position in parameters, I just return the value, but I use a special value for no collision. That makes also the code more dense. Let's see about the code. What do we have? What we have so far. So like I said, we have renamed this function, and obviously I test with the color you pass in parameters, right? And then instead of setting the reference parameter, I just return the value here, but nothing's changed, and otherwise I just return that specific value. I have the kill bullet without spike with just clear property remove item. This was just to factorize this code here, because now I call it if the bullet is outside of the screen, and I also call it here. So now in the erase bullet step of the bullet, I also call the search, but for the pixel along the bullet raycast, but this time I search for black, right? And if I found something, so it's not the special value, then that means, yeah, like I just explained, my raycast bullet was erased by something, so I collide by something, so I should kill the bullet without spray, and I just return true if I kill myself, obviously. So here it's just the refactoring. This time I ask for white, and that's just the normal refactoring. So that's pretty much what I've fixed here. I have done some other change in the. So I also started to draw the crawling sprite that we will try to implement today. Just change a bit the wall again, and some comment change, some data change. Yep. So basically that's all we did. I can show you the difference. So now if I fall, you see the arrows is immediately stop and does not continue. All right, so yeah, that was this main bug I've changed, and you can see the new sprite of the level. So let's try to implement this crawling state now. Obviously, I need to convert my sprite. So the sprite, the crawl sprite is only 8 pixel tall, as you can see. So I did it on purpose, so it can really goes under crawling on one sprite 8, and it can goes under the arrows. So I don't need to waste all the black pixel above. So this one I will put that sprite in a different sprite array, just to save some memory. So let's copy this, and we'll go to the sprite data. All right, so I'll just call it something like a Rick crawl. I think that will be probably the only sprite to be on 8 pixel high. Probably, yeah. Rig sprite, rig, and it's a bit longer also. Cross sprite with rig, cross sprite height. All right. Let's declare it here. Okay, so the width I don't know yet. I didn't count. So this one is 8. So this is rig 4. So let's count how many we have. Oh, I close it. Sorry. So it seems to be I think it's 11. Let's just check the size. 36? No, should be 12. Okay, it's 12. Yeah, it's 12. Okay. And 8. All right, so and already you can see that this raised some kind of issue, which is now our sprite for Rick is not the same height. So what about the position, right? When I will go to crawling state, should I move the Y position of the main character or not? So I will. My feeling is I should not. I prefer not to actually, but I will draw. I will just draw +8 actually, depending on that state. So it's a kind of a specific case for the crawling. But anyway, we are in the different arrays, so we have to handle different code for that. Let's do it now. But if we do that, you notice that maybe there's quite a lot of code about that using the drawing of Rick specifically in a different position for checking different stuff. So that's fine. We can just factorize it. Like, for example, a draw function, we basically only the color is changing, and we need to have a return value for that. So let's specify the color. So we give color here, and then we can check about the state, obviously. So I forgot the name. It's called it's called state. Yeah, and we need a crawl. new state, so let's call it crawl. So if the state is crawl, then oops, sorry, we should draw the bitmap, but not this one, but rig crawl. And what I want to say, we can even if we will have another animation with only 8 pixel high, we can just put it in the same array here, and then we can just rename the array like half rig or something like that. But I think I only have the crawl. Even the jump, the death, the ladder, I think just the crawl, just really the crawl. So this is the crawl, sprite width, the crawl, sprite height, color is looking left is the same, and like I said, so it will be 8 plus 8, y plus 8. And you will tell me, well, yes, but remember the arrow. The arrow was checking the Y of the rig, and in the arrow launcher detection. And if the Y is, if the rig is inside the Y of the launcher, then the arrow launch. But actually, I don't want to. I want the arrow launcher to continue to launch arrow when our rig is crawling, right? So actually, I don't want to just modify a y plus 8. I just want to just draw it just in the drawing, but keep the y like if it was standing up actually. So the detector will still work for the arrow launcher and still launch the arrow even if I'm crawling. So yeah, basically if the anim state is crawl, then I do this, recrawl, the anim frame can be the same variable, crawl sprite width, crawl sprite height is looking left, just the color is changing here. Yep, that's it. Let's change this function to in the header file, so the draw become that one, right? And then obviously here, every time I draw this, I should call the draw function. I should call the draw function with black. And yeah, so where else? Here for checking the lethal collision, I also draw it in black, checking that's the same, but yeah, I think so. And here, check the wall collision, which static collision. So here, and this time I draw it in transparent. Right? Do we have another? No, only these two. Okay. And then in the map manager, I should also change the draw to draw in white. All right, let's try that. Compile. Let's try if it's changed anything or not. Should not. Okay. What about the fire animation? And the dynamite animation? Okay. Okay, seems to work. And I can be killed. All right, so now let's change state in the input of Rick. So obviously to crawl, I should just press down, which may have some conflict with placing the dynamite. I know that. I have thought about it, but I don't know yet how to handle it. So I will improvise. It's pure improvisation. Here I'm checking. Okay, I'm checking the state. Obviously, so jump for fire, place dynamite state. This is the normal state. Yeah, maybe I should add something depending on the crawling state. I'm thinking if I should or not, or if I just do it here. This is jump. Left and right is just moving left and right, or idle. Obviously, if I press down, yeah, I can implement that. If I press down, I go to the crawling state. Okay, let's do that. I'm not sure if the best way, but for sure the input, the control of the character start to be more complex. The more state we add, and the more difficult it becomes. But it's normally it's all tied with the button mapping. So okay, so if the state is crawl, first thing is that I can do is if the down button is just released, I'm not sure if it's released or up. Let me check the API first. Just released, yeah. So if I just release my my down button, then I will go back to idle state. And I'm thinking maybe we start to have quite a lot of go back to idle. Yeah. Maybe I will need, yeah, because here also I have a go back to idle. So maybe I should create a function for that. And do I have it for the, I have it for the dynamite, and I have it for the, yeah. So I'll create a function for that. Idle is a kind of, usually an idle state is a central state of your main character controller. So usually you do an action and then go back to idle, do another action, go back to idle, do another, etc. So it's kind of, call it like a star of animation, a star of state. So I think it's reasonable to create a function for that. I just call it init idle. If I need other function like that, I could also write those function. I could have a init jump, init any kind of state, for example. Okay, let's declare it. Yeah, maybe here. Okay, init idle. So I want init the state to be idle, the frame ID to be idle, and the control speed to be 0. And then when I am firing, after firing, when the finish, I just init idle. I didn't there's an else. I don't like to have I prefer to have bracket if there is a bracket in the if. Yeah. Go back to idle. I was saying before I didn't init also the here I didn't really init horizontal move air control, but I could do it. It's not a big deal. It's actually it's a little bit better. Okay, go back to idle, and then here this is the idle state, right? Yeah, left, right, go back to idle. All right, and then I can also call it here. So you see, I can call it 4 times. Maybe I prefer that. So if player release the down button, then the main character goes up. So by the way, talking about control, because this is really a control, when you do a video game, you have what the video game developer called the 3C for character, control, and camera. Here in our game, the camera obviously it's easy because it doesn't really move. Well, it will move when we do transition from one level to another, but for now we can just leave it. And then you have character and control. Character is more about the animation, how the character is moving, is it fast enough? So this was something I was tuning when I was doing the jump. Does he jump strong enough, fast enough at the beginning? Does he float enough in the air? Does he go down fast enough? The air control, does the air control speed is good enough? That's the character movement. And the control is a bit also about that. The control is about the mapping and the way you control your characters. So here, for example, we can have a simple control where if I press down, then the character start to crawl, and it could stay in crawl mode. And then if I press up, then the character goes up, right, and go to stand again. Like in some game, you have a button to crouch, and then a toggle to crouch, then you press again to crawl, for example. But or you sometimes you have, if you hold down then you crouch, if you release then you go up. So here obviously that's a choice about your control, how you control the character. And for this game it's quite important because it impacts the gameplay and the interest of the game. So basically for that game I don't want to be in a change mode state, like I press one time I crawl and I press up, or I press again down and whatever, I press again a button and it goes up. Why? Because I really want to have these arrows flying over his head, and I want the player to be stressed about that. So I want the player to keep the button, the down button pressed, and if he releases it, it will go up, and then maybe the arrow will come and it will die. So this is this kind of urgency that I want to give to the game, to the player, for the interest of the gameplay. So I hope it will work well. We will see. So that's why I'm just checking the is just released. And as you can see, basically a few streams ago I told you I've bring back the input class, which is, I show it to you again, very simple, right? It's just basically 2 chars. So basically instead of having 1 char in the Arduboy, we just have 2. And because by comparing the button of the previous frame and the current frame, then we know if we just change, if this just changed during that frame. And knowing if you just pressed or just release is actually super important when you do gameplay. It's really, really important. It's so important that it should be integrated into the API of the Arduboy, to my opinion. So we should not have to rewrite it. If you want to do serious gameplay, you really want to have that. Having just the is down button is not enough. It's not enough. Otherwise, you have to check if you don't repeat it. So anyway, let's focus again to Rick. So if it's not pressed, then we can check obviously the left and right. I would just maybe copy and paste and clean it, because I'm sure it's quite similar. And maybe you have also a kind of idle in crawl. I'm not sure what I have copied. Okay, so hair control speed, no, I don't want to start if you just, you know, if you just jump from crawling. If you just jump, I don't want to be able to jump at the already faster speed. So no, it should stay at 0. That's fine. So I can remove it here also. Then what do we have? The frame, reset any frame for the first frame walk. Okay, yeah. So the looping of the frame. So if we just press, yeah, I agree, we should. Okay, then we forgot to, yeah, but then it will be 0 again. Okay, that's fine, no problem. We can do that in the sprite data. So we call it crawl start, for example. Crawl start and crawl end. and this is 0 again because it's another array, and we only have 3 frames. Restart the index because these index are for the recrawl array. All right. So crawl start, and the state is crawl, but the state won't change actually. So I don't need to change. It won't change here. I mean, when I'm crawling, it won't change. I will change if I release the down button, right? So just have that. That's fine. And then okay, we need to have a crawl anim speed. We decrease the X. We set the next frame. That's the crawl start. And that's the crawl end. Oops. Yeah. Crawl end. And I think that function is still working. Set next time in frame, I think is still okay. Just increase the frame. If it's great, then I restart it. It's for a looping animation, which may be okay. We'll see if I need a ping pong loop for the crawl. If yes, then well, I may change it. So okay. So I think we can do the same here for the right. If it's just right, remove that. So this is crawl start. I'm not sure we even need to change to reset to crawl start when you just press left or right. We can keep the current frame and just change that when we change into the crawl state. Yeah, let's comment it for now. I think probably we don't need to change it. All right, so if it's crawl anim speed, obviously I want crawl start and crawl end. And I increase the X. Otherwise, no, I don't return to idle. So otherwise, reset the anim ID. Well, do we need to? No, actually, we don't need. Again, we don't need to reset the current anim ID to crawl start. If I stop, I can just stop on the current frame. I think that's really fine, honestly. So probably nothing happens if you don't press neither left or right. All right. Yeah, we can try again. So that's the crawl state. Now let's implement the switch to the crawl. That would happen into here, into the walk. So obviously here check is down. So if I'm just pressed down, then I should change to that state. And obviously if I do that, then I will not be able to place the dynamite again. But we will try to figure out later. I still don't know how to figure out. Maybe we won't figure out this stream. Wow. Maybe you can give me your idea. Okay, down is just press down. Just press down. Then the state is crawl, become crawl, and the frame ID become crawl start. Okay, and okay, maybe that's enough. So let's try that. We'll see if we have any crawl. Okay, first it has to compile. Expected in crawl and to crawl and. What did I do in sprite data, right? Yeah, in sprite data. Where did I wrote? Oh, I forgot the equal. All right. Yeah, the crawl anim speed was not defined. It's a private data. I will use 3 also for now. We'll see. Again, don't worry if I use a lot of variable here. It doesn't use any memory space, so it's better to really, give a correct name. Then later on you can tune, and of course then you can tune and you don't change the other state. So all right, let's try. I'm curious what will happen, honestly. I have no idea if the animation is good or not. I think the animation will be not that great. I will die first. Let's move here. Okay, let's do it here. Ooh, oof, oof. That's buggy, obviously. So I guess the +8 was not correct. Yeah, so I think it's +5. Yeah, why? Because it's a magic number. Let me try and then I explain you why I think it's 5. All right, so that works better. But the width for the sprite is not correct, but that's fine. Okay. Yeah. All right. So can I go under this? Yeah. Yeah. And the arrow is still firing. So that's what I want. And I'm not killed by it. Okay. And then I'm dead. Okay, so the sprite width is not correct. Crawl sprite 8, crawl sprite width, recrawl, and sprite data. Crawl sprite width 12. It should be correct. 8. Cross sprite width, cross sprite 8. Okay, here. Okay, I have 8 only in my sprite. Yeah, okay, I probably didn't correctly generate it. Let's Let's redo it. Rickroll. 12, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's much better. All right, let's compile again. Ah, okay. I will die. Oh, I succeed not to die. Good timing. All right. Oh, nice. The animation is not that bad. I'm so surprised. I was expecting very bad animation. But no, it works. Even in loop. Wow, that's really good news. Okay, maybe I can tune a bit, but okay. And if I stop, I stay on my animation. I don't reset the sprite, the anim ID. So I stay on the current frame, which I think it's fine. I just go to crawl in one frame, obviously. It could be nice, just kind of polishing to have a transition animation, like yeah, like when I pose the dynamite, is leaning a little bit. Actually, I could reuse the frame, the sprite of the posing dynamite for this. Anyway, so I guess I cannot pose dynamite anymore. Yeah, because as soon as I press that, if I find, oh, I was killed by my own bullet also. Another bug. Right, yes. So we have to think about it. Yeah, I can do that in Chrome. I can also do that now. Yeah. Cool. So, haha. Crawl. Ah, no, too late. Because yeah. Oh, the timing is hard. Timing is really hard, actually. Ah, that was a collision bug. Ah, yes, I know why. So the bug is if you stand up, yeah, so that's a bug that will fix. If you stand up here while you are when you have a stone above you, then you have collision, right? And then the collision algorithm will move you back outside of the collision. So obviously the main character cannot go back to idle state if there is a collision above his head. All right. So that means here, but we will commit our code first because I think it's a nice step. All right. What I want to say is that here in the crawl state, here in that test, if I release the button and I have nothing above the head, then I go back to idle. But if I have something above the head, I cannot change my state to idle. I should stay in crawl. So this is a situation where I can release the button and stay in crawl. And if you continue to move to the left or to the right, when you exit the collision above the head, then the character will pop out, right? So that becomes a bit, this test is not that easy. Because so there is two different solutions to do it. Okay, let's commit first, and then we can discuss that. Let's commit. Let's review and commit what we have. All right, so in Map Manager we draw with white. Obviously, would have been good to have. We could have, again, if I don't want to save memory, we could have just a draw function with two interfaces or with the default parameters or whatever, and the draw function without parameters called the draw with the white. But okay, I just want to minimize the number of functions, minimize the code. Right now we are at 60% of the program. All right, in the RIC CPP we have our crawl anim speed, our new crawl state. We have created the init idle function just to factorize some code. The init idle obviously put the state in idle, reset the frame ID to idle, reset the air control speed also to 0. Then we go back to idle here, we go back to idle here, and then we have our new crawl state, new crawl state. If I just release the button, I go back to idle. Otherwise, if I go left or right, I just move left and right. Yeah, we can delete that code before committing. You can just delete it here actually. Where's that information? Check if we should move to the next frame. Okay, let's save it. And then we have this code to enter the crawl state, right? And then call the init idle. All right. Then we have our refactoring about the draw. Obviously, if it's crawled or not, we don't draw in the same array. And I just forgot to tell you why it's 5 and not 8. Okay, I'll explain you that. Then we call draw with the color and parameters. All right, so let me show you. This is our this is our crawl, and this is our walking. So basically, the sprite is here on the top. So the the Y position is here, that corner here, the top corner here. So, but you can see that there is 3 pixels not used in the bottom. I didn't decide to. I could have decided, for example, I could have decided to draw the sprite in the bottom here, and then if I draw it here, then yes, I would have had to add 8 because we still start to draw the sprite from this. But here, because I draw it from the top, then it should be only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have this 8 pixels for the crawling state, which go here. So that's why it's just 5, because we have these 3 pixels not used. All right, so that's RIC. About the header file, we just changed the draw function. About the sprite data, we just added the crawl, and that's it. So add a first draft of the crawl state. All right. So, what time is it? I think I may not have 1 hour. 1 hour, exactly 1 hour of stream. Yeah, so I think I will stop here. I will just sum up some stuff and give you some insight for later, um, for the next stream. So, yeah, we have, as I said, we have different solution here to check this. One of the solution would be to check directly inside the map manager, inside the level, if the sprite above me is occupied. Um, then I cannot just go up. Another possibility would be to try to draw um, a square or something, or try to draw a square with the extended function and see if there is collision. Check above my head, or just try to draw a line like I've done for. I mean, try to check the pixel of the line. If I have pixel above me, that would be also another solution. But obviously, yeah, that's not a simple test. It will probably be a kind of function. I will probably call a function like is there collision above my head, or something like that. And we can figure out how to implement that function later. So that's for not going up inside the collision. And then the next issue we will have to fix in the next stream will be that dynamite, how to place a dynamite, right? So we can, I'm not sure yet, I need to think about it, but we could also reverse the button, like instead of just press the yeah, it's difficult to press both in the same frame. That's why it's difficult to place the dynamite. You always need to have one first and then you press the second one. Or you could maybe wait for one or just release one. Then if you check on release, that means yeah, there's possibilities, but I don't know the best control so far. Anyway, if you have ideas, you can put them in comment. Maybe you have good ideas on the control. All right, so that's the two main challenge for the next time. And after these two challenges, I think we will have a quite nice crawling state. I don't know what you think. Let me think. You can tell me also if you want a transition animation from idle to crawl. Would be probably nice. It will slow down also the reaction to, obviously, to, for example, here I jump down and then I immediately crawl so I could escape the arrow. If you have some kind of 1 or 2 frame to go down, then it become less reactive for sure. So, but this could be also part of the characters. Is among the 3C character control camera. This is kind of how the character react, right? The control is more like I press the button to go down, and then the character react maybe a bit sluggish. So, but visually it's maybe a bit better. So it's all about that kind of balance. Anyway, I think I will leave you on that. Hope you enjoy this stream, and then I will see you in the next stream. So bye bye.